What happened to loving your woman? What happened to dancing in the rain, singing, crying your heart out? What happened to throwing little pebbles at her window with the boombox outside and professing your love? What happened to sliding on your knees across the hallway? What happened to dancing with your shirt half open as hard as you can, trying to get her attention? What happened to love songs? Women killed them. Let's talk about it. Now that I got the clickbait intro out the way, of course it's much easier to say something like women killed it rather than to go into the details of, we're in a new era of masculinity or femininity or whatever else. It's much easier to just blame one group and then watch y'all fight in the comments. So I think I found my thumbnail and title. But of course, we're gonna get into the details, so don't get too riled up. But with a topic like this, I always want to preface the video with, we love women over here. So don't get too riled up in the comments, especially not about my queens, because we will have an issue. On the internet, you gotta say shit like that, or else you're gonna get the wrong kind of people agreeing with you, and that's not my base. But we also love facts a lot more than feelings. So in that same breath, don't get in the comments talking crazy about that either. If you can't refute the facts, or you can't state an opposing opinion and back it up, just let it rock. One more thing. I want to make it very clear. My skin, pretty dark. The culture and the perspective I'm talking from, the people in it, pretty dark. And I'm talking about music made by people whose skin, primarily, pretty dark. So some things may apply even if you don't look like me or listen to the same music, but this is the perspective. Use that as a frame of reference. Alright, PSA's out the way. It's 2025. We're not the same men or women that we used to be. The culture has shifted over the last couple of decades. We had several years of manosphere content, high value men, incels, red pill, etc., etc. And on the flip side, casual misandry disguised as feminism, and overall just a cultural deviation from a standard family unit, from goals being centered around loving and supporting a partner to chasing whether it's the Instagram model or the richest guy with a yacht, doesn't matter. And the behaviors that have come along with this shift in mindset from, I'd say, family building to a chaser mindset, it's not all negative, but in totality has created a situation where both sexes are primarily interested in fast money, whether it's from somebody or for yourself. And validation comes in the form of likes, reposts, and the amount of people in your DM. For young people, cultural role models are now 30, 40-year-old influencers that are partying and pleasure seeking all over the world. Hate to sound like Mr. Bible Thumper over here, but I'm just calling it like I see it. In any case, all this is pervasive through the culture, and so is reflective through all parts of it, including the music. R&B specifically has gone through many ebbs and flows, and the ebb we're in right now has definitely changed the demand of what's popular in the music. R&B goes through many phases. Of course, there's an exception to every rule, but let me lay it out how I see it, and let me know if I'm wrong. 80s and 90s, we go from love, real, I love you, profess my love for you music, to 2000s, early to 2010s, it's making love, let me put you to bed type of music. Let's get nasty. And now we're going from making love to hate fucking. And the rest of it is just depression about failed relationships and how either you're not shit or the other person ain't shit, and y'all both trying to make it work. You hurt me, I hurt you, we're bad for each other, but fuck it, let's keep going. And I guess that's cool, but where's the love at? Where's the This is not to say that people aren't creating this type of music. There's more than one issue. We also have to remember, this is a business. Now, I started this with the mindset that I was only going to talk about, men making love songs for women. But when I really thought about it, it doesn't really happen often in the opposite direction anymore as well. Our music is very divided across the lines of sexes now. Nobody is in love. Everybody just degrades the other for money. I think it starts with the cultural shift in what's cool, but then that gets amplified once we start putting corporate dollars behind it. When suits get involved, a lot of the art leaves the content. Unless we're fully independent or we're at a point in our career where it doesn't matter what corporate says, you kind of got to play to the audience. And unless your brand is built around being a hopeless romantic or just being a lover in general, it's kind of hard to make that sell. And as we know, corporate doesn't have the best track record with understanding what culture actually wants. They can see what's cool, they can follow trends and see, okay, this is the subject matter that we are liking right now. So that's the type of music they're gonna push more heavily than others. Of course, there's a lot of us that talk about, wow, why aren't we in the era where we can love out loud anymore? But there's kind of a cognitive dissonance between that thought, that idea, and what our reality is, the actions that we take, the people that we do listen to. This kind of mirrors the situation where we talk about why hip-hop has become less and less lyrical over the years. You would think that the amount of people on social media talking about how people aren't real hip-hop anymore would inspire some sort of, cultural switch. But there's a cognitive dissonance between what we say we want and what we actually listen to. And that is on both sides of this coin. Supply and demand. Supply and demand. If it was more popular to listen to, more people would make it. More people make it, be more popular to listen to, more people would sell it. But it's not, so it's not. We spend a lot of time talking about how it isn't cool. But why isn't it cool anymore? Whether we like it or not, what's cool is decided on a two-sided coin. What's cool for men is based off of what women are accepting. And what's cool for women, I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably whatever gets them the best outcome. I can only speak for my kind. And speaking of which, let's get back to that. We love to throw out the concept, women run the world, pussy runs the world.
Could you date a broke nigga right now?
No.
Until we have to deal with the facts that come with that. If it does run the world, and what's publicized and what's popularized is the way to get y'all attention is financially, and not through overt displays of affection or protection, well, then this changes what's cool. This changes what's accepted. This changes what men do. If I know I gotta get a bag, and after I get the bag, I can treat you however, I'm gonna just go get the bag. I don't even have to worry about, the stress. The amount of true love songs from a woman's perspective hasn't fallen off the same kind of cliff that it has from a man. I'd say probably because love is socialized completely differently between these two groups. For speaking in generalities, love from a woman is socialized generally in the way that it should be, or at least in many diverse ways: care, comfort, etc., etc. Whereas from a man, it's primarily protect, provide. And that's been reinforced over and over in the culture for good reason, but now it's being super reinforced through the music and everywhere else. Part of this is also because of the interconnectedness of our society now. This is for all the men. Have you ever been on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and then you see a woman and you're like, damn, I gotta go make more money? This is a thought ingrained into majority of men in millennials, Zoomer, even Gen Alpha generations. Our socialization as men has gotten more and more lean towards being a protector and provider, which is great. That's really the only part of love that's been popularized and that men see. So yes, they'll provide, but they'll provide for you, provide for side chick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's reflected to the music. We're raising generations of tricks and men that can't keep it in their pants. Now, this is not to say this is anything new. This is very ingrained within being a man in general. But in the past, we never had this much access and competition. There weren't 10,000 people all vying for the same women in DMs. And there weren't 40 women that you could text tonight to go have sex with. Just 30 years ago, when the music was really hitting, you were kind of stuck with whoever was in your immediate area. It was the 14 people in her neighborhood and maybe the guy that she played lacrosse with down the street. There's only so many people that she could possibly be connected to. Nowadays, you are competing with the entire world. KD is in your girl's DMs right now. Are your love songs gonna do it, or will that Birkin and that flight out to Bora Bora do it for her? There's not enough love in this world that can compete with a great dinner, some sushi, a Birkin, and the Slim Reaper's cock. Sorry, gang, she's gone. They're choosing their best option, which we should. That's no problem. But by choosing their best option, it then socializes the men to chase being that better option. No more thoughts that a broke man would think about. No more, no more love letters. They're aspiring to be able to provide the Range Rover, the Birkin, for all the women that they want to. And if you don't live in that mindset, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to make music or make art in that mindset. The love is not the same anymore. It looks very different. Now, these are just generalities, but a quick little survey would probably say this is the average Gen Z thought process right now, at least based off of where the culture is and where it looks like it's headed. Men, no true displays of affection, leading with pockets, too many options, a whole lot of fornication. Women, accepting the minimum, too many options, running people's pockets, and a whole lot of fornication. Does it need fixing? I'll leave that to you. The love song is not gone. It just looks different now. Even through all this though, there's still that good R&B to be found. True love songs. Support that if that's what you want to hear. If it's not, support what you want to hear. It's not a problem to me. I kind of like everything. But that's not what I think. What do you think?